Hey guys, welcome back to our weekly live event where we talk about real estate, finance, state of economy, retirement planning. I'm Pascal Corcus. For all you who don't know me, I have a finance degree, minor in mathematics. I got a second degree in accounting, economics, and international business. I worked for Bank of America as a banker, Citigroup doing anti-money laundering, PricewaterhouseCoopers doing tax returns for companies like Home Depot. I was head accountant for an oil company, and I've owned my own insurance agency, accounting firm, and starting up a mortgage company. So I basically teach you guys how to invest in real estate because that's the main thing that I invest in because it has the largest return on investment. We have a real estate investment fund as well as construction. So happy to give you any tips to help you grow. This week, we're going to talk about the economic cycle, right? How our economy goes through a cycle. Normally, this cycle is over a 10-year period of time. It has a mixture of factors that involve, but most of it is relating to debt and employment. So, based off of those two main factors, it's gonna account for where we at in that, where are we in the economic cycle. So, basically, all economies kind of go like this. Right? It's the peak. Trough. This is recession. Expansion. Now, most of us kind of know this, right? We've heard about this before. So what I want to do is go into the details today and to say, what is the factors that affect this, right? So if we're looking into this right now, the peak was, this example, was 2007. In 2007, we had the peak where everything was an all-time high, real estate, the S&P, everyone was making money, everyone was spending money, and we had a lot of people employed and a lot of debt. So people were spending the most that they could. Then, as you know, the debt froze, couldn't get any more liquidity. People lost their jobs. So then between the debt and the no income from work had put our economy into a recession. Basically, there's no money out there to be spent. Now, to give you an idea, debt in our economy basically accounts for about 97% of the money in our system. So cash is not, there isn't really that much cash in the system. And the lower half of our society usually spend most of the money in the sense of they're spending it on living, they're spending it on rent, on gas, on clothing, on food. And when they don't have as much money, then our system slows down as well. So that's what happened in 08 as it went down. Now, I believe we're going to be having the same thing happen now, and we started to feel it around when we topped out around like 2017. Okay, I think that's when we topped off, and since then we're going over that curve on the way down. I'm going to go into why. Okay, so I'm not just going to say that. I'm also going to give you why we're going through that, so we all understand what's going on. Now, 08, I thought it bottomed, right? Or I thought not bottomed, but I thought it went down a lot. I bought a triplex for $80,000. Okay, it previously was sold for $180,000. Well, I was wrong. 2 years later, 2010, it sold for $30,000, the one next door. The cycle, especially in real estate, lags. So we see it in the stock market first, and then later we'll see it in the real estate market. Now, I'll go into why we haven't seen it currently. But for then, right now, it's 2010. and then kept going down. And I think the bottom was around 2012, right? Where things started picking back up. And that means more jobs. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see this, but basically says more jobs, more spending, more loans. And for anyone who's taking my Foundations of Personal Finance class, you'll understand how this is a cycle. And if you prepare your own finances for this type of cycle, you're going to build wealth and everything's going to be in your favor, right? Even if you make mistakes, and I made a lot of mistakes, you'll still make money as long as you play the game by these rules. Now, more jobs, more spending, more loans, going to keep going up, keep going up, keep going up. Around 2017, we started getting capped off. Now, when Trump got elected, he reduced the taxes, which had more spending, pushed us forward a little further. They lowered interest rate because he pressured the Fed to lower interest rates, reduced pressure. Mid-sized companies, which account for many of the employed people in our country, weren't able to cover a lot of their debts. They were barely surviving. So they lowered the interest rate, making it more feasible for them to make their payments, which then in turn made them be able to get more loans to keep going, kicking the can down the road. So now we're kicking this can down the road, and everyone on IG, on YouTube, it's not backwards, so you can see it regularly, and you can actually see it bigger too, and the audio quality is better too. So here's my mic, actually. Forgot it. So got excited. So this stuff does actually excite me. It's really interesting to me. This is my hobby. I don't watch sports. I run numbers. So now we're basically capped off, but they kept kicking this can down the road, kicking it. Now around 2020, which is now, that's why in 2019 I said 2020, 2021 we're going to have a recession. Okay. Now when I was saying this, I was talking about all the issues we had. Right. We had the issue of in 2019. 2019 we had what? The best unemployment. You can't even read that, so don't even worry about it. So best unemployment. But no one had any money. Average American couldn't save $400. Like, meaning if emergency happened, what I mean by this is if emergency happened, they couldn't cover $400 emergency. They couldn't change tires on their car. That just is a big problem. And if you're telling me in this position that we have the lowest unemployment basically we've had, it can only get worse. If the spending is maxed out, it can only get worse. So it only points down. And if we're already this fragile, and companies are this fragile, and now people aren't working, people aren't spending, debt is harder to get, it's going to cause a cycle to keep going down, 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 right? It's going to be like swirling down. So it's going to keep happening. Now, you might ask, well, Pascal, stock market's going up, right? Housing market hasn't tanked yet. You're wrong. Now, I'll agree with you. Stock market has gone back up and housing hasn't tanked yet. But the factors we got to understand is I think about last month, 4 million people were behind on their mortgage, okay? 20 million Americans, or 20% of Americans were late on their rent or didn't pay it. So right now, you can't evict someone in some states till a 12-month period of time. You have a forbearance on your home mortgage for 12 months. So you won't really be able to see that until about 12 months from now. So it's going to take a while. 12 to 24 months, we're going to see this to go down. So now, as I said in my previous video in 2019, I said that the market was going to go down and there wasn't much that's going to take it to kind of, the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't going to take much for it to happen. So I said 2020, 2021, something's going to give. Now, when Corona hit, that wasn't something. We had about 3 years worth of unemployment. Normally, it takes about 3 years to get the level of unemployment we have today. We had that happen in about 3 weeks. So it was like an anvil went on the camel's back, right? This is something major. Now you say, if it's so major, Pascal, why don't we see this? Well, the reason we don't see it is because, one, many Americans receive stimulus money, so it lessened the blow. Many Americans are receiving unemployment equal to or greater than what they were making. That won't last. They stopped the second stimulus check. Unemployment normally goes for about 6 months. So in 6 months, unemployment stops. In 12 months, you can't do the forbearance anymore. Your evictions are going to, you can't extend your evictions anymore after 12 months. The signs will show. That's why I'm not really buying any stocks. I think they're mostly all overvalued. And I'm not buying any real estate really, unless it's like free, right? Like I told you guys about that property. It's going to be worth about $600,000 to $800,000 finished, and I'm picking up for about $280,000. I'm like, all right, even I buy it for $280, put in $100,000. I'm in for $380. If it's worth $600, I can put a fire sale and sell it for $500, right? So I should be able to make that happen. Now, let's continue. So if we see this happening, right, we're going to see that this is going to start affecting the economy, going down. These mid-sized companies can't survive. And again, everyone on IG, I know you can't read it. I know it's backwards. Go on YouTube. It's the right way, and audio quality, and the video is better. The size is bigger. You'll be able to get a better view. Anyone who wants to see the video in detail and replay it, it will be uploaded tomorrow at 10 a.m. So, right now, even in Florida, which is very landlord friendly, you can't do evictions until like mid-July. They won't start looking at evictions again. Excuse me. So in this cycle, now credit's going to start freezing up. Most of these real estate investors are doing cash out refinances to buy more deals. When their cash out refinances are freezing, and they're starting that now, all big investors are like basically on the same track of thinking that I am. And that's why I'm very positive that this is going to happen. Because if all of the big players are basically saying the same thing as me, and I knew this before even looking or seeking out what their opinion is, that means, all right, I have to be right. Now, the question is, I was saying 12 to 24 months. Manny Koshman says 12 to 18 months. During this cycle, Warren Buffett didn't buy anything. It dropped 30%. He didn't buy anything. So something's up. He sold. Something's up. So I think I was showing with some of my mentees that there's this, they were like, oh, look at this property in the area. It's this much money. It looks like a pretty good deal. I said, to be honest with you, looking at that property, looking at the condition, yeah, it's a pretty good deal. And I'm pretty sure we could probably get 25% off and buy the deal. But I'm almost positive in 2 to 3 years, I'll be able to get 50% off on that deal. Why do I know I'm going to get 50% off on that deal? That property was owned for 30 years. So that owner's accustomed to ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And when they're ready to retire, they're going to want out. Now, again, I don't need every real estate owner to give me a 50% off deal. I only need like 5%. Because when everyone cannot buy a deal, because they're spending their money now, we'll be able to buy deals. Because we're going to be ready. We're going to have our finances in order, our credit, our tax returns, our savings, our studying the market, our knowledge. We're going to be ready, right? Emotionally ready, physically ready, spiritually ready. We're going to go out there and we're going to be pushing, okay? Because when it's time to come and we're here, I think it's going to be like, so if we redo all of this, let's redo all of this. I think this is what's going to happen, right? And you can remember, you got these videos, you can see what I said August of last year. You can see that thank God, I've been very good at like calling what's going to happen. Again, I don't have a crystal ball to say when it's coming, but I can say it's like going to the doctor. The doctor says you're going to have a heart attack. The doctor can tell you're going to have a heart attack. He doesn't know when. He's like, if you don't change, you're going to have a heart attack. So I called the heart attack. So 17, think like 2020, 2022, and then I think there's gonna be a hard hit. I think after 2022, it's going to be worse. It's going to be like even a harder fall. So we're going to have a huge drop. So the buying opportunity is between like, so right now we don't see it, but we're going to feel it hard. So I think by 2024, we're going to hit that bottom. Buy. And then we can start climbing back up. And during this time, you're buying. So that's when at this part here, I'm buying. I'm not rehabbing too much, just basics. I'll stop buying around here, say 20, 25. Very few deals I'll start buying. Do you know how I've been saying the last few years? I'm only finding a good deal every 6 months to a year. I'll find a lot more deals at this time. So from here, I'm doing mostly value add. Trying to maximize the price. Between here and here, when things get very expensive again, when the cap rates get compressed. Because some people are like, well, Pascal, how do you predict this stuff? When I'm buying a rental property at a 5 cap or a 6 cap, that's stupid, okay? Like, unless you're in Manhattan, like, why are you paying that type of money for, like, a regular area? Like, you should be getting a 10 cap. So, money's too cheap. Money's too easy. And the thing is, that means they're printing too much. It's too many like bad signs, right? Like I love Disney stock, right? I love Disney. It's a great company. I would want to invest in it, but it's at 41 multiples. That means it will take 41 years to recoup the money it costs when you buy one share. That's how long it takes. So I know it's overvalued. Like I know in 2 years, there's a good chance it's going to be half price. Is it a good buy? Is it a company that'll last forever? Yes. Will it be a fire sale when everyone's freaking out and it should not be that low? Yes. But is it going to be a good opportunity for you instead of buying at 120 now for you to buy it at 60? Yes. So this is where I'm doing value add. And now between here and here, I'm selling. Selling or cash out refis on deals I don't want to sell and I want to keep forever. Okay? So that's what I'm doing right now. Cash out refining on the deals I want to keep. Selling the properties I don't want to love, sell the small stuff, so I'm ready for the big stuff, okay? That's what I think is going to happen in a cycle. These are the dates. I mean, you could do plus or minus 1 year, right? Again, I'm not God, but I am more like a doctor, I got an idea. We're going to have a heart attack. So, all right, so someone's asking to go live on IG. I'm going to go here and see what the questions they have. All right, didn't work. All right, so let's Jazz, my tenant in Massachusetts is refusing to pay her portion of the rent. She is on Section 8. How would you handle this situation? So normally on Section 8, you lose your voucher. I have like 10 Section 8 tenants. And they live in good areas too. So it doesn't matter if you're in a good area or bad area. Section 8 doesn't mean that. It just means they get government assistance. So I would let them know in the contract, if you don't pay your rent, that you can be evicted and lose your voucher. So if you don't want to lose your voucher, pay your rent. Now, they're probably going to try to not pay so housing can pay the rest of it. I don't know how it works in your area, but in some cases in my area, if the tenant can't pay it and they have a justifiable reason that they're reassessing that the portion of assistance, when they're reassessing it, If they don't pay it, housing will make up for it later. If housing finds the tenant valid for saying, hey, I cannot afford my rent anymore and have valid reasons. So for example, they lost their job. They told housing right away. Housing said, okay, we'll assess the situation. At that point, housing is assessing the situation. They file back to say, we will grant you a rent portion change. So now they're not paying 50%. Now they're paying 100% of the rent. At that point, they'll backdate it. It's possible. It's not guaranteed because obviously I don't know how they're going to think in your area. All housing departments function a little bit differently and have different standards. So it's possible that you can get your money back. All right. I'm thinking of selling both of my properties, starting over, condo or single family, then multifamily. Do you recommend that? Not at all. Not at all. 100% no. Again, condos are going to do the worst. Okay. If you want, I'm going to buy a condo probably in Miami Beach. I'm probably going to buy a condo in Clearwater or like a nice mansion on Clearwater Beach, like on the sand, because they will tank. Waterfront property, mansions, condos in really nice areas. Actually, condos everywhere will tank. I live in a very conservative, there are doctors, there's lawyers, there are engineers all in this area. There's people that are retired that have money. I bought my condo in this good area that has the best school district. I mean, A-rated middle school, A-rated high school, A-rated elementary school. I bought it for $28,000 when they used to go for $150,000. So single family homes will get hurt also. Multi-units get hurt the least. So you can do what you want, but I'm telling you, it's not going to be financially your best interest because I'm only giving you financially the best interest advice. Now, again, this is not talking, say, for example, if you're talking about Manhattan, where almost every single property for sale in Manhattan is a condo, right? So we're talking about areas where there's condos, there's houses, there's townhouses, there's multi-units. All right, I got a live request. We're going to go on. All right. Hello? All right. Probably don't want to see what happened there anyway. Let's go on YouTube, answer some questions on here. Lucina says, hello, Pascal. What's up, Lucy? Noel. Hey, Pascal. What's up, Noel? Hugo, how did COVID affect the economic cycle? So as I said earlier, basically this thing was going down and it basically smashed it. Like it's always basically we were going to go into a depression, like a legit Great Depression, right? This was going to be shit that like our grandkids would talk about and they learn about it in school. Like that level. And because they put out like $4 trillion, right? They just gave money away. It helped hold it up. Okay. What they're trying to do, do you know how they said with, the coronavirus, it's like, they're like, we're trying to, they're afraid of like, boom, having a hard drop, right? The coronavirus is like, we're trying to like level out the bell curve. What does that mean? That means they know that a lot of people are going to get the coronavirus. But what they're trying to do is not have everyone get hit at the same time so hospitals can slowly absorb the sick. Okay, even they want to distribute it. They want to make it more like this, but it's a lot longer. It's a lot farther out. So I guess more like that. And they're trying to spread out the people getting sick. Well, what they're trying to do also in our economy by giving all this bailout money is they're kicking the can down the road even further, but they're not stopping it from happening. They're not going to stop all these companies. Like they cannot help these companies open back up. They were already hurting. They died. They had a heart attack. They're dead. They're not being resuscitated. All these gyms, many of them are out. Restaurants, 25% closing. Movie theaters, closing. So if you imagine all the rent's not being paid, all the employees not making money, all the cities not getting taxes, all of this is going to have an effect. So what they're trying to do is just push it down so it's not as hard. But it's going to be pretty hard, and we're going to feel it in about 12 months. We're going to really start feeling it. So hope that answers your question, Hugo. I got a request to go live here. Andrew, unable to join. I think Andrew, Andrew, I remember your name. Andrew bought the course. Come on, ask the question, Andrew. I got you. Noel says, hey, Pascal, how would the rioting and looting affect the market? By market, I'm talking about the stock market and the real estate market. Well, obviously, it's going to make it harder for businesses to open back up. It's going to make it harder for people to go back to work. The thing is, it kind of happened at a time where these places weren't going to open anyway. So it's going to actually not affect it that bad, as long as they can be able to rebuild everything by the time people can come back. But I think some of these stores are not going to open, because all you did was basically you took all their money away because they couldn't open. Then they probably couldn't even pay the insurance on their property. Then you set their place on fire, and they have no freaking money to rebuild the place. Like, unless they give out more money to rebuild it. But if the SBA does have these loans where you can rebuild your property or rebuild the business. But the problem is, it's another loan, right? Now the business owner will be like, damn, I got a PPP loan, I got an EDLI loan, I got this fire that happened. Like, I don't want all these loans anymore. And they'll just forget it. I'm going to default. I'm going to default on everything. I'm like racked up to loans up to here. So you can see that problem will happen. The other businesses that are more financially stable, that have the money, that have the resources, they're going to be able to go and fix things back up in the next month or two, and then get back up when people are starting to sell again. So where did all these billion-dollar companies come? Most billion-dollar companies, more mega companies come from times when the economy is very bad, right? We're talking about like Uber, Lyft, Airbnb. They all came out like during a recession period. And they blew up during this last 10 years of expansion. So this is going to be an opportunity for the people that are ready, that are resourceful, that are willing to slim down and just put in the hard work and not try to spend their way into like making it. Because there's people that will just spend their way and they'll market their way and they'll just blow all this money just trying to grow their business, but they don't have a quality product that people want. So those businesses are not going to survive. The ones that are ready to handle it, they will survive. They'll go back, and it's going to be a problem, but it's not going to be the end of the world for them. So Jasmine says, tenant is Section 8. Contact Section 8 explained, I am not receiving her rent portion. I was told they can't help me. The home is up for sale. What would you do? Depends. What state are you in? Like, if you're in one of those states that are not rental friendly, there's not much you can do. I mean, that's why I don't rent in some of those states. New York, New Jersey, like California, like they could leave there. Massachusetts, yeah, nothing. I mean, I knew some old school investors that would just literally take off the doors off the property, and then it's winter hits and it's like they freeze and then they basically move out. I mean, it's gangster stuff. Like, you are not doing anything. You're not doing. No, the government's not helping you, right? They're not going to be helping you. Like, yeah, I know. See right here. So listen, this is Jasmine is a perfect example, guys. All right, Jasmine, thank you for being so honest and open and bringing this situation for everyone to learn from. So Jasmine is in Massachusetts, which is not a landlord-friendly state. Can you make money as a landlord in Massachusetts? Yes. Can you make money in real estate in Massachusetts? Yes. Can you also have exposure like she's having right now? Yes. So she had her income that's guaranteed and the tenant's not paying her section, which is awesome that she has some money coming in and only losing some of it, compared to she could have a tenant that's not Section 8 and getting no money at all, and no one would evict that person. She would be stuck with them for 12 months. She put it for sale. Well, the person buying it now, what are they going to see? They're going to see her property is being rented by someone Section 8. Awesome, but they're not paying their bill. So are they going to be wanting to pay full retail for her property? Probably not, right? Unless it's something amazing that they want, but usually unlikely. So now she can't evict them. So she's in a position where she's like, I can't do anything. What might happen, and God forbid this happens, hopefully what does happen is Section 8 will reassess her rent, increase her rent, and then pay you the difference. Hopefully that happens. If it doesn't happen, what might happen is her property will come available for sale when everybody else's can come for sale. Her evictions will start when everyone else can start with evictions, and then everything's going to hit at one time. So then it's going to become a fire sale of all these properties. At that point in time, it is important to make the smart move and if you're going to sell, cut your price the appropriate amount. Don't be like, I'm going to cut 5,000, hopefully it sells. A month later, another 5,000, where in reality, you should have cut it 20,000 and sold it, because you're always going to, if you're only cutting $5,000 a month in this example, 5, 5, 5, 5, those people end up not selling at all and being stuck with the property the whole time in a cycle. So it's important to make sure that you're making the hard decision. If you have to cut the right amount, you're going to ask your real estate agent, it's a very good real estate agent, what is the appropriate amount of money that I need to list this property to get it sold? Not possibly sold, but to get it sold. And normally it's hard for people to make the decision to be like, all right, I'm cutting 20,000 instead of they'll wait 4 months to cut 20,000. And by that time, they'll need to cut it 60,000. So I'm being redundant, but this is a very important point. Jasmine also says, I'm renovating the basement entirely and porches, making it with one tenant and one empty unit. Thoughts? I mean, adding value to the property to help sell it is a good idea. So that's a great idea, Jasmine, because what you're hoping to do is increase cash flow to make it more desirable. So now normally in a good market, the money she's adding to the property will appreciate the property and get a higher sale amount. But because she's already in a difficult situation, she will most likely, if she's lucky, whatever money she's investing to add the additional unit will just she'll just break even on that cost, and all the extra profit that she's making from the rent she won't get paid anything extra for that, because that will be absorbing the loss she's receiving from the tenant not paying the full portion. Remember, this is a cash flow game. So if your cash flow is not strong, then it's gonna be reflected in your sale price. Jasmine says, I have a buyer who will keep the tenants. Is this good? Of course. Yeah. If you have a buyer that will keep the tenants, that's awesome, right? Because you don't know. That's the tough part, because some people do not want tenants. They want to occupy the property themselves. But if there's an investor that wants to keep the tenants, yeah, that's awesome. Let's make sure that you have everything in line so you do not have an issue with lending and getting qualified for the loan. Okay, so make sure you do everything you can to make sure that the lending and your documentation of income looks good, so there's no issue with them getting a loan to acquire the property. All right, great question. Andrew's asking to go live. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, how's it going, Pascal?
Going good.
This is my second time on here, and the first time I asked for like a few like suggestions on like what I should read. I've already read How to Win Friends and Influence People, and right now I'm reading Think and Grow Rich. And I just wanted to ask, like, it's kind of hard to like study the market. So like, how would you like suggest on like studying like little stuff of just the market?
So, I mean, the best advice I would give you is study where you're going to buy. So you actually have to go to see what sold and what is purchased. So like, I'll give you an example. Like right now, someone called me and they're like, hey, I got a 40 unit for you. It's a 10 cap property. So automatically 40 unit property, 10 cap. That's awesome. That sounds really great. Hey, does it have a agency debt? No, it doesn't. It has a bridge debt. I'm like, all right, suspicious. When did they buy it? A year and a half ago. Okay, how much did they buy it for? 1.6. How much are they asking? 2.9. And I'm like, all right, so you're basically giving the deal that I want to buy at 1.6. They already did the remodel. They're like, yes. I'm like, okay. So right there, I studied the market, right? I analyzed one deal. I knew that they bought it for 2.9. The realtor told me that. Or selling it for 2.9. They bought it for 1.6. They told me that. And then if I ask, they'll tell me how much CapEx is. CapEx means how much was the remodel budget, for those people who don't know what CapEx means. So now I know how much money they spent. Okay, well, how much was the rent before? 600. How much is it now? 900. Right there. Before, after. CapEx cost. Before rent, after rent. Difference. Normally the difference is no additional expense. It's all profit. So now I know what the before and after is for the rent, before and after for the purchase and sale, and the CapEx cost. Now again, CapEx changes for every property, meaning remodeling budget changes for every property. So, and just because they did a remodel doesn't mean they did a good job. A lot of people I've noticed, that's why I like doing my own remodel jobs, even though they take more work and more money. A lot of people do shitty jobs, and they'll just put new paint and new walls and new this and new that, but they won't fix the plumbing. So you got brand new cabinets, but then you have a plumbing leak that destroys your new cabinets. So it's like you have to be careful. Like, don't think, oh wow, it's remodeled. That doesn't mean they did a good job. Look at the hard stuff: the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, the AC. Now you do that 1,000 times. Now you would think, Pascal, like you're joking, right? Like 1,000 times? No, I mean a legit 1,000 times. I told my friend, listen, Gail, look at 100 homes before you buy it. Doesn't have to be in person, but look them at least in Zillow. So she actually took it literally, and she actually saw them in person. So my other friend's a realtor. She took her to 100, and she came back and yelled at me. She's like, "You told her to go see 100 homes? I had to take her to 100 homes." Like, well, I told her online. I told her I didn't mean in person. I meant like online. And what did she do? She bought it for 100. She did her own value add. She spent maybe like $5,000 or $10,000 in like fixing the place up, and she sold it for $175,000. 3 years later, saved her money on not paying rent, had a roommate, and made money that way. So her $10,000 investment, because she did an FHA loan, and she used the $10,000 out of her 401k, so it was nothing out of her pocket. She made other than $60,000 profit, $65,000 on the sale, she also saved like $36,000 in rent. So her $10,000 investment made her $100,000 roughly. So you can see, like, it's worth the 100, because most people's problem is this. It's not like you're going to buy a deal. When the market tanks and you buy a deal, it's not like you're like, oh, I lost money. Most of the time, you didn't lose money. You made some money. The thing is, you didn't make a lot of money, and what's coming is you're going to be able to make a shitload of money. Okay? You're going to make a lot of money, but if you buy the right deal. Now, my first deal when I was 19, I bought it in 2005, which was still kind of a high market. I bought it for $143,000 for a duplex, right? I paid like $20,000, $30,000 too much, easy, for that property. So I overpaid like 20%. Now, did I still make money when I sold it? Yes, I still made money. But could I have made a lot more money? I could have made a lot more money. If I made the right move up front, instead of me having 23 units by the time I was 23, I probably would have had like 63 units. Because that small difference it's an exponential difference.
And one other thing is, like, what advice would you like give for like the graduating class? Because I am graduating this year. So what advice would you give?
So this is what I would give you.
Any changes? Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Would there be like any changes like differently between this class and like when you graduated?
No. So when I graduated, I stopped going to high school my last 2 years. I did early admission. So I did early admission when like people didn't know you were in high school going to college. So I was doing that, and why I went to college is because the high school paid for it. I didn't have to pay anything. So so basically I didn't socialize with people. I continued my learning. Now, in addition to going to college, I also read all those books I told you. And basically in college, what I learned, and in high school, what I learned is they basically gave you the technical term of what something means. They didn't actually tell you how to accomplish that thing. So like, you'll know what a horse looks like, but you don't know how to ride it. So what I'm going to tell you is this, is that just because you know what a horse looks like does not mean you know how to ride it. And just because you know what a economic cycle is, and you know about all these concepts, and there's investing and buy a mutual fund, does not mean you understand anything. Your learning does not stop in high school. It starts in high school. It starts after high school. It starts with what you want to do. And the people who do not read and do not advance their studies are usually end up become on the bottom half of our society income-wise. Now, let me clarify that. I am not telling you to go get your doctorate degree and be a doctor or be a lawyer or be whatever. I'm saying if you're going to be a mechanic, study and be a better mechanic. Work your way up so you're better at your job, at your skill. If you're going to be an electrician, study and get better. Whatever you're going to do, continue your education and hone your skill. Because what's going to matter and what's going to be coming is the people that have skills will have a job. And the people who do not have a skill will not. So anyone going for that had a marketing degree won't have a job. If you went to got a bachelor's, you won't have a job. Like if you just got a bachelor's in business administration, you have no actual skill that anyone could use. So what you need to do is basically what I did. When I left high school, I worked for a lot of people for free. And after I worked for free and did it enough, I learned something from them. And when I got good enough, and I literally worked harder than people that got paid. So not only did I, one, pick up a skill, but two, I was valuable. They wanted me. So
was your motive like to pick up a skill?
I was bored. I was bored. I'm always like learning new stuff. When I find something interesting, I'm like, for me, that was like, when I found out about real estate, I was like, that's like the most amazing thing. Like the government's giving you money to buy a property. The tenant's borrowing it from you and paying you rent. You make a difference. You get the cash depreciates, the loan depreciates, meaning that it's worth less because the currency is being printed. You're going up in value on your asset. You're making money. Like, I mean, it's like, all right, as long as you don't buy wrong, you're going to win. There's nothing really else out there with that type of like guarantee and win, except a really hardcore hustler that opens up a business. They'll make a ton of money too, but then have to work hard, where in real estate, eventually you don't have to work hard. It handles itself. So I do both, right? I have the businesses and I have the real estate. I just like learning, right? Like all this stuff is cool to me. You know, I mean, one last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is this. Anyone telling you that you're working too hard or you're burning yourself out, if that is true, and only you can decide that, I can't tell you that, a person cannot tell you that, then don't work that hard, right? But no one told Kobe, stop working out, stop shooting shots. No one told Michael Jackson to stop singing, stop dancing, stop coming up, stop being creative. No one put a limit on them, right? So why is there a limit on you on what makes you happy? So just remember, whatever's making you happy, if you like this, like my wife, she's like, before we got married, like, again, I'm one of those things, like, I don't lie. Like, if it's something you don't want to hear, I'm going to still tell you, because I'm not going to come off as a liar. I'm just going to tell you the truth. But so that's the point. Is this is not about, I mean, this is the point. I was like, you know what? Wow, that's an awesome business. I want to own that business. Actually, I want to own the business, and I want to own the plaza. And I actually want to own every business in that plaza. Now, again, I think like that. Now someone else would be like, that's kind of crazy and you're kind of full of shit. And then one day, I have my accounting firm, I have the insurance agency, I'm owning a mortgage company, I have a construction company, I have this other business, this other business, this other business, another deal, another deal, another deal, another deal. And I'm literally like nonstop morning to night, because that's just like my thing, right? I like it. This is my sport. And she's like, wow, you are serious. So find out what your sport is, and it won't matter that you have to look at 1,000 deals or 100 deals or whatever, play this guitar 1 billion times. Like, you know, like I look at my friend, he actually plays a guitar very well. He's like, he travels and does it for weddings and different events. And the dude's sick. And I'm like, how does someone play that much? And then I kind of laughed to myself. I'm like, well, people say the same thing to me. Like, how do you run that many deals? I'm like, I actually like running deals. Like, it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's entertaining. Like, I enjoy helping people get better at their finances. Like, it's like I'm at the gym and I'm talking finance, you know, like I'm like, you know what? You're paying too much on your car loan. You got to go to Penn Fed because they're going to give you a better interest rate on your car loan. And you got to go to American Express to get it your savings account because they're going to give you 1.3% or 1.5%. Like, that's just my thing, right? Like,
well, that was about all the questions I had. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, before you finish, make sure you read Benjamin Graham, Intelligent Investor. Because when this starts happening and it tanks, it's part of one of the. Have you read it yet?
Like I read a chapter and I thought it was like really hard to like read, so I went to Think and Grow Rich.
Okay, Think and Grow Rich is going to help you, right? It's going to motivate you. It's going to give you concepts. Why Intelligent Investor is good is because it's going to teach you finance concept, like the things you would use in the stock market, because it's mostly talking about stocks and bonds and stuff like that. And I was top of my class in that stuff. I don't like investing in it that much. It's just like not fun for me. But the concepts are very good. So what you want to do is apply those concepts to the real estate market and to what you're doing and to understand what's happening here. Because now when people are shocked and everyone that's not watching this is like, I didn't know that was going to happen. How did that happen? You're already going to know, like, no, it's going to happen. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. How did you not see that coming? So Intelligent Investor is going to teach you concepts like dollar cost averaging, which means if you want to buy Disney, you don't buy $10,000 worth of Disney today. You buy $2,500. A month later, you buy another $2,500. Another month, you buy $2,000. Dollar cost in. Same thing in real estate. You're going to dollar cost in, dollars cost out. Then you don't have to be like, oh man, where's the bottom? You won't care when the bottom is. You're just going to be buying along the way, and you're going to selling along the way, and you're going to average off, and you'll average off fine.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, going to go to YouTube, answer some questions. Licia says, any advice for someone who will be laid off for 2 months due to COVID? I want to be able to take advantage of the good deals coming. Excellent credit and capital. Worried about the 2-month gap. So as long as you get hired back within the same industry type, the 2-month gap won't matter. Okay. So same industry type. So if you're a nurse, I know it's not nursing. If you're a graphic designer or an engineer, right? You're an engineer and you do construct buildings and now they're not building anything. You're off for 2 months, but now you're back working again. It should be fine, right? You're going to have the income. You're going to show it's going to be fine. That is what's going to matter. Okay. Now make sure you have a good savings because honestly, I think we're going to go through another cycle of a lot of people getting laid off in about a year. So make sure that you're ready for that. So I wouldn't buy any real estate right now if you're not you have a sick cash reserve. Because if you buy now and you can't cover the payments, especially if you're not buying like a fourplex, if you're buying a fourplex and 50% of the rent covers the whole expense, then okay, that's a different situation. But otherwise, if you lose your job and then don't have the money to make your payments and then you just lost that property, that's going to stink, losing your 10% down or whatever your down payment was. So be careful. So you're waiting that 1.5 years, 2 years before you start buying your real estate, and you're still saving your money, studying the market, making sure like you're studying all the stuff I'm putting out so you can be ready and prepared to pick up those deals when it comes. Julian says, hey, Pascal, just wanted some quick guidance. I was recently cut off of a paid apprenticeship for HVAC due to coronavirus. I was planning to do that while going to school for business. I think HVAC is a very good trade. It's in high demand, especially if you're in Florida. Like, so my friend hires a bunch of people to work for his company, and it's very hard for him to find anybody good. So it's a good industry. FAFSA, and then it says FAFSA, but now the HVAC schooling is recommended to use my FAFSA to cover it. I wanted to get as much under my belt before diving into what I think I love, something at business school. Any advice? So, you can do 1,000 things. You can work for a HVAC company and work your way up and try to get a cut of ownership. You can learn business that way. You can start with a small HVAC company and work your way up with them and try to take a partnership cut that way too, so you're not going out on your own. The business degree doesn't matter as much as your certificate as HVAC tech. Your HVAC tech is more important than your business degree. Did you hear that, guys? I have 2 degrees and 3 minors. It doesn't matter. If you have a technical skill, if you have an actual usable skill, you're going to matter. Because let's just say you got your bachelor's degree in 1 year. When the market tanks, you will not find a job. Just having a bachelor's degree will not help you. Now, in 1 year, you have a technical degree to do HVAC, you're getting a good chance of finding a job because they need technicians, right? Most technicians in 08, most technicians were around like 50, 60, retired for good. So there's a massive gap for skilled labor in this country. So I think we're going to have a big revival of trades, of construction, of manufacturing in this country. So there's going to be a higher demand for you to get well paid in that position. And then eventually you want to open your company, cool. If you're happy working where you're at and you want to start buying rental properties, cool. You'll have a lot more options, I think, finishing your HVAC than finishing your college. All right. Going live on IG. Hey, George bought the course too. George D. That's good. What's up, George?
What's up?
Did you access the course yet?
Yes. I just did, actually.
Awesome. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good. I've seen the preview before.
Awesome. So what's your question?
Right, so I have a question for you. I'm trying to process a payment, and my dad is into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a couple of buildings, and I'm trying to manage them for him because he's not really good. This is not his good skill, I guess. And I'm trying to manage it for him, and I'm trying to understand what is the best way to do online. I spoke with my uncle that he was doing this before, and he told me that there's online payments. But I'm not sure if this is the best way. I thought I could execute.
I do almost all my payments are online. And almost all my payments are through Zelle.
Through which one?
Zelle. 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 So if you have Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, SunTrust, Regions, any of the mid to large banks, they have this free money transfer system called Zelle. So if I have Bank of America and you have Chase, I can send you money through Zelle for free right away. And it just hits your bank account. And it'll tell me who sent me the money to. So I'll know, George D sent me $1,000. And I'll know who that is because it's the person on the lease, right? So it's free and it's fast. It's like literally the second you send it, you get it. It's what I use. It's awesome. And what you do is you attach a cell phone number or an email address to the checking account you want it to go to. So say you own 3 buildings. Well, each building is owned by a different company, and each company is going to have a different phone number or email address associated to that building. So say you have building 1, so it's building 1 at Yahoo, building 2 at Yahoo, building 3 at Yahoo. And then they know building 1's attached to checking account 1 for that bank account, building 2, checking account 2. So then each account is going to get their own money separately.
Okay. So I put one phone for all of them, and then I have a different account number for all of them.
But you can't put one phone number because if you put one phone number, it only goes to one account.
So we'll have to have 3 phones then?
Or 3 emails.
Okay, so it's a content. All right.
It's one or the other.
Okay.
So you can if you're, again, what's the building called?
Not sure. E&M, I think they have a management company, it's E&M.
Okay. So let's say the building is called, my property is Coastal Cottages. So it'll be coastalcottages@gmail.com. And if you put that in and send money in Zelle, it'll hit my account. Now, don't send me money because that's not real. But it's an example. I got another company called Dunedin Rentals. So if you go DunedinRentals@gmail.com and that tenant sends money to that account, it goes into other checking account.
Okay.
So you follow what I'm saying? Each checking account is going to have its own either phone number or email assessed to it, attached to it. And you're going to give that information to the tenant. Say, tenant, go on Zelle, transfer me the money to this name. And test it.
Okay.
Send me $1. Let's test it out. Send me $1. Yep, I got your dollar. You're good. Make sure going forward you send all your rent that way. So now you're not picking up any cash or checks or wasting your time.
And even though the money will be pending, will
it won't be pending. Immediately. If I sent it to you right now, this second you'll have it in your checking account to spend.
Yeah, because I have this problem with my tenants right now. They say, "Oh, I have this check. I'm putting it right now," and they never do, and they're always very late.
If they don't have a checking account, then you're still going to have that problem. If they don't have a checking account, okay. So, and then the next thing is what I do is I have them go to my bank. So like, let's say I have Bank of America. I tell them, okay, go to Bank of America. Here's my checking account number. Make a deposit. Your receipt for making the payment is the receipt that the teller gives you.
Okay.
And then I'll see it immediately in my bank account. Right? Now, again, I'll take a couple of days to process, but at least you know you got your money.
Got it.
And well, I don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like, so then they can't say, where's my receipt? Your receipt is a receipt the teller gives you.
Okay, and then I was wondering, my uncle, he's pretty smart, but he's doesn't really like to read or anything. So he takes a lot of cash, but we're not active investors anymore. Do you think it's still worth it for a cash? Because if I sell the building, then I will have to pay the 25% of the depreciation from the depreciation that I take. Do you think it's still worth to get the cash or no?
So wait. So can you clarify to me so collecting cash and rent, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying because I know that you said because of what you were you say that if you sold your money, then you will be able to get a bigger loan.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Because you sold more money in the bank, the depreciation, the bank basically adds it back, so it goes another trick. Yeah. So, but if it's cash, you don't sell it anywhere. But my dad is not an active investor.
Your dad is old. Your dad is old school. Your dad is like a lot of the old school investors that I met. So this is what I was saying. Okay, it doesn't matter if you get cash. I get cash sometimes too. But on my tax return, I'll show $100,000. I'll show all the money I received. It doesn't matter if I get it in cash, check. Doesn't matter if they give it to me. Doesn't matter how they give it to me, right? They could give it to you in silver coins worth $10,000 for one coin, but they only give you one coin. It doesn't matter. Whatever you tell them you received is what you received on your tax return. So I tell them everything. I show all the money I make. Then I depreciate the building by, say, whatever, like say $40,000, and then I have expenses. So at the end of the day, I have zero in taxable income. In reality, I made 40, but it shows zero. So it doesn't matter if he collects it in cash. Is he showing it on his tax return? The reason the issue comes is if you try to save it now and not do it the right way, then what's going to happen is when he tries to sell it, they're going to say, show me how much money you're bringing in on your tax returns. And then when they go to get a loan, when the new buyer tries to get a loan, because most of these buyers are going to be with loans, very few are going to pay cash. You could find a cash buyer, but not likely. And if you are finding a cash buyer, they want to see everything documented. They're not just going to go like off your word. Show me proof. So what's going to happen is likelihood, like this is cash flow, but when you sell the property, you're going to get a very low amount of money or less money. I'm going to make it clear. You'll get less money because you're not proving how much money you're making.
Even though I have all the invoices for the past years and all the checks?
You could do that, but remember, how easy would it be for me right now to sell you a property and say, look, I got $100,000 in cash rent. Oh, yeah, show me. Well, here's a receipt I wrote the tenant. Here's another one I wrote to tenant. So you're telling me I'm going to believe a piece of paper you wrote down for me to pay you more money on a property that you cannot document what you made?
Right. So
And then on top of that, I trust you. George. You look like a trustable guy. Let me give you these handwritten receipts to the bank. You know what, George? The bank doesn't trust you. And the appraisal is not coming in because we can't validate the income. But I will give you 20% less because they'll give it to you at 20% less. I don't know how much less it's going to be. But I do know if you show a lot of money in rent, you're going to get a great sale price. And if you don't show a lot of money in rent, you're going to get a lower sale price. So that's what I can tell you.
I was just thinking because I'm not going to start being active for another 3 years. I want to first go to a private equity firm, start learn how things work, and then I think it would be foolish for me to start right now. I'm only into this game for like 6 months.
Nah. Studying my course is going to teach you a lot. Study your market. You already bought the course. Just study the course. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to understand how personal finance works. 2, study your market. That's the one thing I can't teach you because I can teach you the idea, but I can't make you look at 100 deals. I can't make you look at 1,000 deals because what's going to happen is in 2 years or in a year, these deals are going to get good, very good. And you want to be able to buy them when they get good. You don't want to be stuck in a private equity firm buying them deals.
Right.
You know?
I got what you mean. I just thought I would learn all the techniques that a bigger company would learn, and I can do while I'm doing that. I can do this because if you say, oh, I work at Blackstone and I was like VP, then it's easier for you to raise money and have a syndication because you were at Blackstone and you had a VP, so it's easier for you. That's what I saw from Schwartzman. That's what she did.
Okay, so like I'm not saying don't do both, but don't like not buy while you're waiting this 3-year period.
No, of course. I'll try to do something better. I just have to see before. And I want to ask you one last question. For insurances, I know that you're in the insurance industry.
Yeah.
I know. How do you shop insurances and keep having them like lower prices all the time?
So what you do is basically I'm a broker, right? So I have 30 different companies we shop. So if a person doesn't like their insurance as a broker, they say, oh, you know what? It seems too high. Can you shop me? And we'll check the 30 companies and we'll come back and we'll be like, okay, this is now the best option, or what you have is currently the best option. So that is how you can basically do it. Find a broker and work with them. If anybody's in Florida, we'll be happy to help you guys. What I would do, I know you're in New York. I know where you are. But I'm saying people that are in Florida, be happy to help. So now what I would say is, since I think you're in commercial insurance, just the feeling I'm getting is that your buildings are probably more commercial than residential. They're more than 4 units each.
It's mixed, and then we have a big one, but it's like commercial.
Yeah.
We have a couple mixed.
Mixed meaning mixed use.
Yeah, mixed use.
So mixed use is mixed use is gonna be like commercial still, because if you have like a barber shop and you have an apartment, that's mixed use. A regular insurance usually doesn't cover that. You have to get special insurance. So normally for that, what happens is the details of your policy are very important because they can just like not include certain things and the price looks cheaper, but in reality, they just cut something out. So if you're going from broker to broker, like different companies, they'll be like, oh, here's a cheaper price. But in reality, it's not cheaper. They just cut something off. Right. So if you do get a cheaper price, bring it back to the first person and be like, hey, John gave me a better deal than you. Why? And then they'll be like, well, look, they made your deductible from $10,000 to $50,000. So now if something happens, you're going to pay $40,000 more out of pocket. If I make yours $50,000, it's going to be the same price as his. So then you're going to see like where the game is being played.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Have a great night.
All right, guys. Let's get some of these YouTube questions. So, Jasmine. Pascal, when relocating, would you purchase a multifamily first or a single-family home condo, Connecticut, or should you wait to purchase? Give the market changes. I would wait. If you're relocating and you do not know the market, I would wait. I would study the market before making a purchase. Especially now, since we know the market's going to go down. So, no point. What would you recommend as a sick cash reserves? About 6 months of the mortgage payments or property per property owned. 11 months of, so I'm not talking about investment properties. I'm just talking about your personal expenses. So if you're living in a multi-unit, yes. But if you have 3 or 4 other multi-units, do not include it in this number. But all expenses times 11. All expenses for 1 month times 11. Food, electric, internet, cable, taxes, mortgage, health insurance, car payment, everything times 11 months. That is good for you to be covered to find a way to get back on your feet. You can't count a line of credit. You cannot count credit cards because the companies, when things go bad, they can freeze your line of credit. They can freeze your credit cards. They could disappear. The money that's in stocks could disappear. So you actually want it into some type of cash, more of a cash position. Now with multi-units, you should have ability to have a big vacancy, and a big vacancy ratio on your multi-units, which depends. Like right now, I can have 50% vacancy on my multi-units, and I'd still be able to cover my mortgage, taxes, insurance, and expenses. So I'm in a comfortable position. So I'm in a comfortable position. So it depends on that, right? All right, Lucina, 2024, plenty of time to get ready, for sure. Next door SND says, hello, Pascal. Can you recommend your top 5 books on finance, freedom, and real estate, please? I'm looking for my next read. Just finished Rich Dad, Poor Dad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the top 5 books into the comment section, the caption section of the YouTube video. So tomorrow when you come back in, make sure to smash the like button on the YouTube video. Say whatever you want in the comments, show some love. And in the caption section, I'll leave the 5 books in there that I suggest reading. Okay. Michael Mason, how do we access the course? So everyone who purchased the course should have received an email today around 5 o'clock, and that'll give you ability to access. For anyone who has not purchased the course, it's still on sale for the next few days, right? So it's $297 now. Made it super cheap, made it really affordable. It's normally $997. So we talk about taxes, insurance, credit. We talk about savings, investing, finding a deal, closing on a deal, psychology of an investor. Basically, we have it all. What's my channel on YouTube? It's Pascal Korkus, my name. If you have not received an email and you purchase a course, please DM me and we will get that resolved for you. All right. Pablo says, books and table. Please, Obama. I don't understand. Michael Mason says, I didn't get an email. I DM'd you. All right, cool. Yeah, DM me if you didn't get an email. I emailed it to the email that you guys purchased the course on. So if you by mistake put in the wrong email, then it went to the wrong place. So I'll redirect it, guys. All right. Try to buy gold from a coin shop. If you can, the question is, where do you buy gold? Try to buy it from a coin shop. Try to buy it from a dealer. If not, you can buy gold, the ticker, GOLD. What's up, buddy?
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. I'm Rishi, by the way. I have a few questions for you regarding real estate. I recently purchased 2 apartments in Australia.
Okay.
I am actually studying valuations right now. My end goal is to become a property developer, which I'm looking at it after I complete my study. I just wanted to know about the tax strategies. How do I overcome and reduce, the taxes? Because in Australia here we pay a lot of high taxes. whether you pay a personal income tax or corporate tax. But these two apartments which I purchased, rented by students next to the university. And how do I, like make the most out of it? I'm just paying interest. I have taken interest on the loans, and I'm making gross about 14%. But how do I overcome the taxes? Like any specific things you can suggest?
So when you're bringing in the income, obviously you subtract the interest, the taxes, the insurance, the repairs, the maintenance, the association dues. You're writing all that off. In America, and I think in Australia as well, you can write off what's called depreciation.
Yes, I am following the depreciation because you see, actually bought it last year.
Mhm.
I'm yet to file tax due to coronavirus right now. I'm just trying to maximize because I have a lot of free time right now.
Yeah.
Maximize and getting the best strategies from great people like you.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that. So by depreciating an asset, then you'd be able to, most of the time, break even. Well, it'll show you as breaking even, so it won't show you making any money. So you won't be paying any tax on that. Sometimes when you do a lot of value add, a lot of construction to the property, it's actually going to make it look negative. That negative figure would be able to, in America, the negative figure for a real estate professional, that owns many properties like yourself, will be able to write off that money against their income as well. So then the loss, even though it's not a loss, it was an investment, but on paper it looks like a loss, can write off the income over here. So then overall, your tax bill goes down. You have more money left in your pocket to be able to buy more deals.
All right. And do you think it is better to include your, like, I was just thinking of to include my studies cost, into the company. Do you think it's advisable to do something like that?
So in America, you're able to write off your education expense for your first 4 years on your tax return, and you get a credit for that. If you're not able to do that in Australia, then on your personal tax return, then it would be a good idea to write it off on your business tax return and make sure you label it as continuing education or something to that nature. It should be expensible for you because you're getting it in you said HVAC electrical, right? Electrician? What are you?
Valuations.
Valuation.
Property value.
That's what you're getting your degree in?
Yeah, I'm doing a graduate diploma right now.
Okay. So because it's in like real estate, you should be able to possibly write it off as continuing education, and you might be able to write it off that way because in our country, we're able to write off that type of education as continuing education or professional advice, which can be associated to the business, and because you're trying to improve on the business by this information you're learning.
I see. So it is possible.
It's possible. Now, again, you're going to have to kind of dig into the details a little bit because even in the country, in America, where it's possible, there's certain situations it's not possible, right? Like there's certain details where it does not fit in. And normally your tax professional is going to be able to help advise you on that. Is it possible? Because in most situations, it's available. You can do it, but some situations in this country, you cannot do it.
All right. Okay. That's great. Thank you so much for your advice.
You're welcome. So good luck, and don't forget me when you're a developer. I might come see you and build some properties on the water.
I'm trying to get there.
Awesome. I'll see you later. Have a good night. Or good day. Actually, it's morning for you guys. All right. So why would anyone get an interest-only loan? Interest-only loans can be very helpful because it increases your cash flow on the deal. And since, as you know, what I've been telling you, don't get a 15-year, get a 30-year loan, right? Because getting a 15-year loan, all you're doing is paying down more principal, which is not really helping you as much. It's better for you to have more cash flow for you to buy more deals. So having an interest-only loan can be beneficial to where you increase your cash flow to be able to buy more deals. Since, again, the inflation in a country is going to be decreasing the amount of your loan, in the sense of the purchasing power of the money you're borrowing is going to go down, which is going to make it easier for you to pay it off in the future. So the longer you can wait to hold off from paying a low interest rate loan, usually the better you are, better financial situation you'll be in. So, for example, my real estate, I avoid paying off all those loans as long as possible on the low interest rate real estate loans, because every year the country prints more money, devaluates the currency. So in the future, in 10 years, it would be way easier for me to pay it down. But at that point, I'm still not going to pay it down. I wait another 10 years. So I wouldn't even consider paying down my loans personally until I'm probably like 65, 70 years old. And at that point, I'll probably start paying it down. What's a good return on investment for a single family home? Depends the area you're in, right? Like some cities that like cash on some cities return on investment is like 20%, but I wouldn't want to be in that city. Another city return on investment is only going to be like 3 to 4%. So it depends on the city you want to buy in. So there isn't a clear answer, right? Next door, SND says, great, thank you. I'll come back tomorrow looking for the books recommendation. You're welcome. John Wicks says, would I be able to qualify for a loan on a multi without a current income by using assessments on the rent that would come in? I have capital for down payment and an emergency fund, but they're currently furloughed till the entertainment industry returns. The answer is yes. The question is, can I buy an investment property with no income from a job as long as that rental property is bringing in money and I have cash for a down payment? The answer is yes. Normally, they're going to want 25 to 30% down, and it can be as low as 20% down as long as the property is bringing in good cash flow and more than enough money to cover the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and everything else. So yes, you do not need a job to do that. Most, real estate investors do not have a job. All they do is real estate, and the bank doesn't care really how much money they make as long as the property they're buying makes money. All right. Hey, Pascal, what should an inspector check for a property? Electrical, plumbing, roofing, HVAC. Those are the main things to look for. But at the same time, they're going to be checking for, like, is a tile lifting up? Is the cabinets in good condition? Is the kitchen in good condition? They're going to look for those things as well. But that's part of it. You need to be looking at that as well, because they might say it's fine condition, but fine condition doesn't mean you're going to make the most money in your rent, right? You got to kind of like consider that factor. But those are generally the things an inspector would look for. All right, what subject did I study in college? Originally, when I went to college, I went for chemical engineering. So by the time I left high school, I was roughly had my AA in engineering. I decided, being from Syria, and it was not that long after 9/11, it's probably not a good idea that a Syrian gets a degree in chemical engineering. It's probably not going to be a good look. So I said, you know what, maybe I'll go for finance, because I'm good at numbers and I like finance. So I got a finance degree. I got a minor in mathematics. Then I learned a lot of finance guys, all they do is sell. And I'm like, despite I like investing, I don't want to have to be stuck in a job where they're making me sell. I want to be able to help people, right? So I'm good at numbers. I can help people. How about I do taxes? How about I do insurance, right? Things people need to buy. If they have to buy it, they might as well buy it from me, since I'm going to teach them for free along the way. So finance degree, minor in mathematics. I got a second degree in accounting, minor in economics and international business. Did any of those degrees help me do what I'm doing today? Not really, right? Most of the stuff I learned was from actual people in the field doing their job, right? Those are the people who taught me. I learned accounting, not from college. I learned it from a guy from my church that I worked with him, and he taught me accounting. You don't learn accounting in college. You learn like concepts. I learned credit cleaning from one of my friend's mom. She was one of the top credit cleaners in the country. She had creditclean.com, and then she ended up shutting down the business later. I had learned real estate from a couple of mentors. So I learned mortgage from another mentor. So I built this structure from all these people, right? And this is back in the day where you couldn't really just go and and go online and get information, right? You have to actually go and meet with people. So guys, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for all the thumbs up. Thanks for all the love, the hearts, the comments, sharing my page on YouTube and Instagram. I really appreciate it. Again, I put the course on a deep discount for you guys because you've been asking for it. It's $297 right now for the Foundations of Personal Finance. Basically, teach you everything that I learned to get to 23 units at the age of 23. So that's available. It's good on sale for a little while longer. Thank you guys for 125,000 followers on Instagram. Thanks for the love. Keep sharing, keep liking, keep spamming it. I definitely appreciate that stuff, and it makes me drive more to keep giving you guys more. So I love you guys. Until next time, I'll see you Sunday at 10 p.m. Be blessed. Be safe.